what else have you got? And Kipper picks up what he'd been twirling around earlier. It's a conker. I think conker's another word for chestnut, because there was another Kipper episode that mentioned conkers, and I read a book that sort of adapted that episode. We'll talk about that another day. But instead of conkers, the book said chestnuts. So I guess they must have adjusted the book a little bit for, like, the American publishers. So conkers are chestnuts, right? Okay, looks like conkers are actually called horse chestnuts. European horse chestnuts, Buckeye, Conker tree. And somehow or another, Kipper managed to thread a string right down the middle. Are those things hollow in the middle? I'm doing some more research here. Kipper says that he's going to play a game with the conkers with Tiger later, and people in the UK actually do that. What they do is they poke a hole down the middle of the conker and put a string through it and tie the end together, and we got two players, each with their own conker on a string, and they try to hit each other's conkers together, and whichever one doesn't break is the winner. And Pig says, that sounds tricky. Kipper says, no, that's easy. And Pig says, really? That's the same really that they reused later in the final episode of the series, The Farm, right before Kipper shushed him. But there's no shushing here. Then Pig decides to let Kipper bring him some conkers, and Pig will give him a gobstopper for them. And Kipper thinks that's a great idea, and so he leaves and says he'll come back later with some conkers. Now then, we dissolve to the next scene, and here comes Tiger. Pig has another customer for his little candy shop, and they basically start doing the same thing that they did earlier with Kipper. Pig offers a quote-unquote free tasting, and then Pig starts eating all the candies in front of Tiger, starting once again with the sugar hearts. And what do you know, I'm actually recording this on Valentine's Day. How perfect is that? I imagine the sugar hearts that Pig is eating are a lot tastier than the ones that we used to have at school with the little words on. Pig said that his sugar hearts are more like jelly, whereas the ones with the messages on are more like chalk. Kind of hard to believe that Pepper Ann ate so many of those. So anyway, that scene does not last very long. We cut to the next scene. We see Kipper once again. Oh, did I mention that Arnold has a cute little apron on too? Little green thing? It just goes around his waist. It doesn't go over the shoulders like Pig's does. And now we see Kipper standing among the trees. And he's found another conker. Then he picks up this prickly green thing off the ground and opens it up, opens the shell up, and another conker comes out of it. So he just uses the parts that are inside. He says to himself, Tiger better hurry or there won't be any left. Then we fade to black, and a little bit later, Kipper is stringing a whole bunch of conkers together. He's got 5 of them on a string, and a whole pile of conkers next to him. You know, those conkers almost look a little bit like pretzel nuggets. Like they have like the dark brown crust on the outside and the little round spot in the middle that looks a little bit lighter. They look a little bit like that. Like those soft pretzel bites. And Kipper's sitting there at the bottom of the tree with his conkers waiting for Tiger. And then Tiger sneaks around the tree and says, Boo! Here I am! And Kipper shows him the conkers they found. And Tiger does not seem overly impressed. He says, Not bad, but I don't need lots of conkers because I have a super champion conker. Look! Gee, I wonder how these guys do that. Kipper did the same thing earlier. Tiger just pulls out this conker out from behind him, and both of his hands were empty before, but they don't have pockets. Where do they keep these things? Maybe they have some kind of magic hidden pockets somewhere, or maybe they hide things in their fur somehow? Who knows? Tiger says, Look! It's invincible! That line took me a while to fully understand. At first I thought maybe he said it's invisible, but that's not right because we clearly see this thing right in front of us. And so then I thought maybe Tiger said it's imbitsable, meaning it's impossible to smash it to bits, because we'll see that in a minute. But no, invincible means too powerful to be defeated or overcome. And sure enough, Kipper and Tiger starts playing with their conkers. If you look closely, Tiger's conker looks a little bit different than Kipper's. It's a lot rounder and a little bit more brown, and it doesn't have the lighter parts. Tiger says, Okay, Kipper, let battle commence. And then Tiger whacks Kipper's conker with his, and Kipper's Conker is totally destroyed. Hey, told you, Kipper, my Conker is invincible. And so Kipper tries again, puts another Conker on his string, and Tiger just gives out a little yawn because he's that convinced that nothing's going to happen to his. And Kipper tries to whack Tiger's Conker, and something cracks. And Kipper's excited at first. He says, yes, ha ha ha, invincible, Tiger? Because apparently he didn't notice at first that Kipper actually crushed his own Conker in the process of hitting Tiger's. Then Tiger very calmly holds up his Conker, which is still on his string. He clears his throat and says, 2-0. For a long time, I didn't have any idea what that meant. 2-0. I didn't know that the word nil meant nothing, zero. Kind of like zilch or nada. I thought Tiger was saying that something was like way too nil, but he was actually saying the number 2, because his Conker survived 2 rounds, and Kipper lost both of them, so I guess Tiger got 2 points, and Kipper had 0, so Tiger and Kipper, 2-0. Okay, that makes sense now. And Kipper kind of sadly says, well done, Tiger. You win. That was my last one. I'm surprised he said that was his last one, because didn't he have 5 Conkers on his string originally? Maybe they did. No, that couldn't have been it either, because Tiger said 2-0. I was going to say, did they do 5 rounds and only show 2 of them? That's kind of confusing. If Kipper had 5 Conkers on his string in the beginning, and then Tiger crushed 2 of them, how are those 2 his last ones? I don't know. Because Tiger points over to the pile of Conkers that Kipper had been collecting. He said, what about all those? You got loads left. And Kipper says, no, I'm sorry, Tiger. Those are for Pig. He promised me a gulp stopper if I gave him some Conkers. Come on, give me a hand. So did Kipper only want to use 2 Conkers for the game and then save the rest for Pig to exchange for a piece of candy? I don't know. Because he put 5 on the string. Maybe he took 3 off and set those aside to give to Pig, and then just used 2. I'm not sure. Let me know what you guys think. And after Kipper told Tiger about the gobstopper exchange that he's planning on doing, Tiger does not look too happy. He looks a little bit worried, actually. I wonder why.